You ever watch those TV shows where a guy says he has a friend that has a neighbor that knows a dude that has an expensive car sitting in a garage that was owned by a former roommate of his and left it abandoned and now they want to sell it? I'm always jealous when I see Richard Rowling scoop up a Hemi Cuda for the price of a used lawnmower, or watch my favorite YouTuber run across a deserted 3-year-old Audi sports sedan that they were the only ones ambitious enough to buy and save. Now these deals might all seem a little too good to be true, and that's because they are, but the idea of a super cheap supercar is still one that lives on with most of us. So when I got a text from a friend that acquired a Ferrari that was sitting for the last 7 years that he wanted to sell, I immediately fired back asking for pictures. The 30 seconds it took for him to respond felt like an eternity. What Ferrari could this be? The only thing I know at this point is that it sat for 7 years. Could my dream come true on a bargain 458? Or maybe it's something retro and rare like a Miami Vice white Testarossa. Then the pictures rolled in. It was this powder blue with a denim blue top and a navy blue interior Ferrari 360 Spider. This car looks like it was spec'd by a strip club owner to match the carpets in the VIP room. Even though it's not Rosso Corsa red, I was always taught to look past the color of a car when it comes to getting a good deal. This thing could be old man tan and I'd still be interested in it, but the bigger problem here is that it's the same exact Ferrari I already own. My British Racing Green 360 that I've had for the last 3 years has been nothing short of a nightmare, and if this car taught me anything, it's that there's nothing more expensive than a cheap Ferrari. And since I already own one of these cars, what's the point of having two? Well, the only way I can rationalize this is if I make it more about the investment than the car. If someone offered you Bitcoin for half the price, would you buy it? Well, maybe not in this market, and it's very possible a cheap abandoned Ferrari is just as volatile and possibly even more so than crypto. One big repair could easily set us back 5 figures. Now the price of this car is cheaper than my green one was, and it's got a clean title whereas my green one was salvage. It's cheap for a reason though. Andrew, the seller, hasn't been able to get it to run and it's missing the original keys, but more on those details in a minute.
This has got to be the cheapest Ferrari available on the market today, and as long as its engine and transmission are in good working order, I think that normally this would be a pretty crappy situation to be in, but luckily I'm wearing my Vessies.
My Vessi sneakers are super light and supportive with the perfect amount of cushion, but the best part is they won't let in a drop of water, leaving my feet clean, dry, and comfortable.
Seriously, no matter how wet I get these shoes, they're 100% waterproof. Here, check this out.
And since they're made with Dymatex, which is a breathable, dual-knit material, my feet still feel cool during these hot summer months.
And I really love my new pair of Vessi boots because they're so comfortable. You can wear them all day like they're a normal shoe, but if we gotta go in some of the muddier areas here on the farm, there's no problem. You just spray them off when you're all done. There really is a pair of Vessis for every occasion, and you can find a pair for you at the link down in the description box. Make sure you use code SAMCRACK at checkout. That's gonna get you $25 off every pair of Vessi shoes you order. Now I wanna give a huge thanks to Vessi for keeping my feet dry, especially during the hurricane season, and for sponsoring this video. So supposedly this thing's been sitting for several years at this point and has been ran in that time. To me, that's like the ideal Ferrari because you can pick it up cheap, but it came missing the keys, and well, at first glance, there's a few little things off here. There's been some rough paint and body work on the front bumper here. That's not a big deal. What's amazing is that the paint of the car actually looks really good. And why in the heck are all the Ferraris I look at have tinted headlights? That's like a theme here. There's something weird about this. That's aftermarket. Somebody bent that. Doors stuck. Either locked or stuck. It's not abnormal for them to get stuck, right? Did you guys pick it up or get it out? No? Yo.
What's going on, man?
How you doing?
All right.
I saw it. We're gonna have to answer a few questions here.
Now this is my friend Andrew. Some of you might remember him as the owner of the yellow LS swap Ferrari 360. I met Andrew when I bought the transmission out of his old Ferrari, and at the same time he gave me the engine as part of the deal. Andrew owns a towing company. He dabbles in the auctions as well, and his tow yard looks like a junkyard combined with a custom shop, with everything from a stretch Cadillac Escalade to a V12 BMW parts car, with a few crash damage hot rods sprinkled in. Since we last checked in, Andrew's LS swap Ferrari 360 was totaled, and from a quick discussion it sounds like he was done dealing with the typical Ferrari headaches and why he was more motivated to sell this car than trying to repair it himself.
The deal is if I buy this one, I got to get rid of one of mine, and I've got just the one to get rid of right now. I've got a terrible one that
Yeah, well,
they're all pretty bad.
you never know what you're buying here, man.
That is true.
You know what I mean? But it has low mileage on it,
Yep.
and it looks like he started sanding the bumper there a little bit.
Where did one of your tow trucks pick this car up at?
So this was bought off a friend of mine that does foreclosed houses, cleans out foreclosed houses.
Okay.
He couldn't get a title for it, and just wanted to off it for some money because he knew nothing about it, no keys, no nothing.
Sure.
And I gave him a price. I thought I was happy. He was happy.
So he got it first, you got it, so I'm going to be the last one holding this hot potato.
And I applied for the, pretty much applied for the title on the record lien status. And when I got it, we took it. The bank called me and they weren't interested in picking it up. Told me it was not worth it for them. So I'm like, okay.
We got to get inside, Andrew. Let's
Open
get
the
inside.
door.
I tried to open the door. I didn't pull really hard because I didn't know if the door was locked. You know how the door locks are really finicky on these. It's not locked. Okay. There you go. Okay. Maybe it's just that I have really crappy versions of these cars, and my door handles are like really floppy.
I'm pretty sure it needs to be adjusted.
Like a sleeve of Wizard. The top is in better shape than I expected. A little funny here.
Well,
but
it's broken right here.
Yeah.
If you look at it, it's got the typical broken piece right here. I actually have all the pieces in here. I took them out when I was messing with it. So I have all the covers.
just
all
the
the
covers,
bolts,
and yeah, I don't.
all the bolts.
Let's see.
It's untouched, other than when I touched it.
It looks untouched except, okay, tell me, the computers. What's plugged in right now?
All right, so when we were trying to figure it out, on my other Ferrari, obviously, we put the LS engine in it, so I took all the Ferrari stuff out, all the computers, so I had them. So I assumed that if it had an electronic problem, my car ran other than...
Sure, the engine being faulty.
Yeah, it only ran on one cylinder, so I mean, 4 cylinders, so it ran. So everything worked like it should.
Okay.
So I took every computer out of this one and every computer in mine. I still can't get it to fire.
Okay.
And I said, I could fix it. I could take it to somebody that knows how to do it.
Sure.
I don't have a computer that reads it.
That's me.
Yeah,
I'm the
there you
guy.
go. You have a computer that reads it?
I have it.
So I think this will be better in your hands than it is in mine.
All right, so that's plugged in right now, because we're going to get ready to start tearing it apart and fixing it right here in your yard.
Okay.
I don't want to fix it too much, because then the price might go up, right?
Nah, we made
No, okay, good.
Nah.
All right.
It is what it is at this point.
Whose computers? Are these yellow car computers?
Those are the yellow car computers
Okay.
that match the immobilizer.
Okay, and the immobilizer that's in it right now is yellow car immobilizer.
Yep.
Where's everything else?
They're all in there.
In the car, okay.
Yeah, they're in
Just in case I want to look, we're going to go through it. We got keys are in there?
I'm going to go get the keys for you.
Okay.
And while you're messing around with it, I'm going to disappear and go eat some lunch. Let me go get you the keys.
Thank you very much.
And, have at it.
Hey guys, it's Sam coming to you from the future, and I wanted to take a quick second to explain to you exactly what's going on when it comes to the keys and the computers that we're going to test out on this blue Ferrari to attempt to get it to start. And I can use my green Ferrari here to explain exactly what our thought process is here. Now remember, I told you earlier, Andrew had this yellow LS swapped Ferrari 360. That car had been completely dismantled, and pretty much every single computer that runs any sort of mechanical system on that car was removed from it. And Andrew had that spare set of computers. The computers are important because if all the numbers don't match across all the computers, well, the car won't run. You see, it has this antiquated style immobilizer system that lives in the interior. In order to disarm the immobilizer, you have to use this right here, the fob that is matched to the car. When you press that button, the immobilizer is now defeated and will stay defeated for about 30 seconds. With the immobilizer now defeated, you can use its key to turn the ignition and start the car. If you don't start it within the first 20-30 seconds, it gets reset, it arms itself back on, and you always have to press this button in order to defeat the immobilizer. What Andrew did is he took the matching set of computers from his yellow car, including the immobilizers that again live in the interior and the engine computers that live in the engine bay. He installed all of those in the Ferrari, and he used the key fob from his car to defeat the immobilizers. Now this all pretty well makes sense. You've got a matching key fob and a matching set of engine computers, but what doesn't make sense is that the physical key from his old car actually turns the ignition in this blue car. When he told me this, I hardly believed it until, well, I tested it out, and you're about to see how it all works. Anyway, hope this clarifies everything a bit now with a matching set of computers and a key fob. That brings us a few steps closer to getting this Ferrari started, although Andrew has obviously tried and been unsuccessful so far. And the fact this car's been sitting the last 7 years or so doesn't really help out our situation.
You can hit the button and it turns off the immobilizer, unlocks and locks the doors.
Okay, so this is the set of keys Andrew told me from his yellow car, the one we took a ride in last time. And this will unlock the ignition to this car. And this immobilizer button, since Andrew swapped the computers from his yellow car, should do all that.
Turn it off.
Okay. I saw one thing that's a little suspect, but I'm not positive. We'll see.
Alright, there you go. Now you got plenty of room
Thank
to
you.
do everything you want with it.
We're good.
And I do have all the nuts and bolts and shit. So,
Cool.
I mean, yeah. So, and all these plates and everything. So
Yeah.
this was like an unmolested Ferrari.
Semi-
Other than someone went crazy.
Yeah, semi-molested. Let's call it semi-molested. But we can, this is easy enough to unmolest. The one I had was very molested. The whole stereo was cut in and all this crap. Well, again, we'll see.
All right, let me go get you some keys.
Thank you very much.
All right.
Okay, so this right here, like Andrew just said, an unmolested Ferrari. Someone was definitely in the process of molesting the hell out of this car. This has the factory speedometer, but these are readily available online to buy. This is the Stradale Look RPM gauge. This is a piece of paper you can buy on like eBay for probably $39 or something. Just at first glance, looking at the interior, everything's not bad, but this thing needs to get out of the sun immediately. There is dust, there's some cracking on the seats right here, but this is all stuff that's really easily touch-upable given that the car is mechanically sound. All right, first things first, let's get a good battery on this car. I've got one with jumper cables, so we'll just run them outside the car so we can do our tests and try and crank this thing over. As Andrew told us, it cranks, but it doesn't start. He thought that was an immobilizer issue. It sure as hell sounds like an immobilizer issue to me, but we'll dig a little deeper, see what we can find. All right, we got the replacement battery in. All right, immobilizer, key fob. All right, we don't want to take too much juice from our good battery because we might end up compression testing this car. If it compression tests well, the price that Andrew's asking is really darn fair. If it doesn't, it's probably not worth it because the engine itself, we know, is anywhere between like $9,000 to $15,000. Yes, Andrew did give us a spare, but that engine needs a lot of work, and it probably needs what I estimate to be about $5,000 or $6,000 to get back into just working shape. And anytime you rebuild an engine, it's a gamble. One thing that caught my eye when Andrew was showing us around the car, look at this. See this computer right here? It's all plugged in, but the ground to this computer is here on the chassis of the car. And so really, it should be bolted in like this, like the other one. Well, the other one's not even bolted in. So I don't know that that would cause us the problem, but let's see if I can wedge this enough. The cranking is so strange. The fact that it's cranking is so weird. All right, here's what we found. 3 modules. It found your gearbox, so plugging in the other gearbox computer is good. Found the roof module, and it found the airbag. It's not even finding the engine computers. I want to point back to immobilizer when I hear that, because again, from the engine control computer experts, they said if the immobilizer is not completely defeated, it will block access to the engine computers. He says, so if you plug in a diagnostic reader and try and scan it, it won't let you do it. The first Ferrari I bought was one of these Spider, the green one, and I came out with a video, and like I said, it would start once and then it would never start again. It would do what your car's doing, and I had a faulty engine computer. Everyone in the comments said, it's the immobilizer, it's the immobilizer, it's the immobilizer. In that case, it was not the immobilizer. But, I mean, look at what it's doing. I mean, it's going through the cycles. There's the F1 pump priming and everything. Well, that's it. We're going to move quick. We're going to do a compression, I think will be the smart thing. We'll see what it looks like. If compression's good, we're going to make a deal today. Why did Ferrari have to make this job miserable?
Yeah, I'm saying, dude, that looks awful.
Say, didn't you do this with me once?
I think I've done it, yeah.
You just have to get at every single angle. So right now, we're going to pull all the ignition coils out. And we're going to do a compression test because, again, if the engine's good, I think we'll be able to buy this thing.
Should we pull all the spark plugs out too when we do this?
Yep. It smells like fuel back here. You smell it.
Yeah. One thing we do have is time.
Maybe you, Sage.
Shit.
Not enough time in the world to work on one of these cars. All right. Out. Our first thing I'm seeing, plug's a little wet. Just the first plug I take out, a little wet. Fuel?
Oh, that would be fuel.
That's fuel.
Is it? The fuel pump is this one on this side, right here. All right, we got one off of either side. So now when it doesn't run for sure, you know it's because the fuel pump relays are out. That's good. 180, that's about what my green car did, 180, 185. So that's one.
In my opinion, this compression test turned out fine, and while there's a little deviation between 180 and 210, it's not enough to cause concern from what I've seen on my car, especially since this one supposedly hasn't run for several years. There's obviously something really simple keeping this thing from running, and I think if we check all the hardware and grounds running the diffuse panel and immobilizer boxes in the interior, we might get somewhere, but I don't want to make a total mess of this car just yet. I'd rather get it back home where I can organize its parts. But before we throw in the towel, there's one more thing I previously mentioned and kind of overlooked.
So a few times earlier I was looking at this. If you notice, did we record this already or no? Do you remember?
I thought we
do it again.
We can do it again.
So obviously we know all the computers are swapped over, and I was looking at the brackets of the engine computers, and if you look, I mean they're all plugged in and everything, but they're not mounted to the car. And I remember specifically hearing that if those brackets aren't mounted to the car, the computers will not be grounded, and that actually goes for all the computers in the car, even the ones that are in the car. If they're not mounted to the frame of the car, it won't start. We have 4 bolts here that are going to mount these computers to the frame. Will it work? I'm skeptical, but I just talked to someone who's very confident that this is our issue. See how strange this is? Now look, that's hitting that. I gotta look at how they go on my car, but we'll bolt this down so it's actually on the metal. We'll do the same on the other side. What's it called? I have the battery off, so I'll put the battery back on. The fuel pump relays are out. Remember those? We should put them back in. All right, let's see. Think it's gonna work?
I really hope so. What do you think?
I don't think so, but all right, get that engine if it starts. All right, here we go. It always starts like crap the first time.
Okay.
Insane.
Hey, the price is not changing, okay? It's not, hold on. Hasn't been started in how many years?
6.
Here we go. All right.
Oh, no, Ferrari got it.
See? Funny, but it hasn't run it so long, and it probably has old gas in it, right? Does it have old gas? Yeah. It smells awful.
It smells awful.
That's normal. Sounds like popcorn. Put the oil on it.
That had to be grounded for that to run.
This is a good point. Maybe we should test if the car goes into gear and actually drives or not. Go into gear?
Well, you got the hoods up.
Oh, the hood's up. Yeah. It won't go into gear if the hood is up. All right, and also the front might have to be closed too, maybe.
Yep.
right, so just because it runs, Andrew.
Hey, man.
Just because it runs.
Yeah, man. Let me rev it.
Doesn't mean it's perfect, okay?
No, I got you. I think it's badass, though.
Now that we've got the car running and driving, this is pretty much a done deal. However, I noticed one other thing that warrants a quick check, and that's that the coolant overflow tank was dry. These Ferrari 360s have a very common problem where the transmission cooler, which sits in the valley of the engine, rots internally, allowing gear oil and coolant to mix with one another. The easiest and quickest way to check this is to take a sample of coolant out of one of the radiators and make sure there's no gear oil in it. In order to do a more thorough inspection, you can do a gear oil change, but that requires removal of the rear bumper, so let's go with the quick route for now.
Alright, so I'm just turning the drain valve on the radiator, and so hopefully there's a little bit of coolant in the system. Nothing's coming. Oh, there it goes. God damn it, it's in my eye. Okay, let that drain. Gotcha. Alright, now it really's not going to have any coolant in it. I forgot that when cars get hot,
There's no pressure. It comes out fast.
there's a little bit of coolant in there, you know?
It comes out a little faster.
Tastes like coolant. Doesn't look mucky, so like if it had oil in it, like gear oil in it, there'd be like big floaty chunks of brown, because you know gear oil is really thick. So there was obviously some dirt in this pail, so that looks dirty, but it tasted like coolant, that's for sure. We proved that I know a little bit about one car. It's that Ferrari 360, and well, we got it running. This is an awesome car. It seems to be pretty healthy, but there are a lot of little problems with it, and of course it's a Ferrari, so those little problems are fairly expensive. And then we've got one very big problem, that's that the convertible top won't go down. Now again, that's something that could cost anywhere between $300 and $500, or it could be a $5,000 or $6,000 repair bill. But if you're interested in seeing more of this specific car, well, you got to tell Andrew down in the comment section, because I'm going into his office and I'm hoping he still sells it to me after he heard it running. So it's been a long day, a very fun one. If you enjoyed this video, be sure you hit that like button. I heard that for every like you give this video, Andrew is going to drop $1 off the price of the car. Also, if you're not already following me on Instagram, where I'll post more pictures of that Ferrari 360 when it makes it home to the farm. Hopefully it does. Follow me there or click the link in the description. Guys, I want to thank each and every one of you for watching today, and I'll catch you very soon.